Hey guys, Dana Lattery, Fly Fishing Bow River Outfitters here. On this segment of the Fly Fishing Academy, we are going to talk about a hopper dropper setup. At the same time, this can be used as a double or triple nymph rig setup, but most likely what we want to talk about here is specifically a dry dropper, or commonly referred to as a hopper dropper. Now what that means is you're basically going to be using your dry fly as an indicator if that nymph or the dropper gets eaten. At the same time, that dry fly can get eaten too. So it doubles your odds. First of all, most likely where the term came from, hopper dropper, is when we fish a big foam fly. We have our hopper here. And that is our hook. That's a beautiful hopper. From the hopper here, we are tied all the way up, and that goes up to our fly line. Second of all, we have a dropper. Let's just put that little dropper here. Say we have a nymph. All right, so with our dropper here, we have two ways of connecting that to our dry fly. The first way, we can attach it to the eye of the hook from the hopper. Just throw in some water so we have some perspective. Second of all, what we can do is tie that same one off the hook bend. All right, there's advantages to both and there's disadvantages to both. First of all, if this is a completely debarbed hook from the manufacturer, you could potentially lose your dropper off of this. If this is a hook that you have pinched the barb, or at the same time perhaps where you are you can fish barbed hooks and you leave the barb on, then that aids in helping this connection stay together. Second of all, there's some knots that you cannot use if you tie it directly onto the hook, such as the non-slip loop knot. You would have to use a knot that cinched right down onto the hook, as therefore it wouldn't fall off. Same time, if you tie your dropper off of the hook here, your fly might ride a little bit different in the water as far as your hopper goes. And now, through experience, we've seen that a dry fly or a hopper late in hopper season that doesn't quite ride right, it is therefore an opportunity for a fish to not take that dry fly. So you have to ask yourself, are you wanting to see more dry fly, or are you just wanting to hook up fish? So there's something to weigh in on. I mean, again, that's time on the water. That's understanding exactly what pattern you're using and understanding therefore if that pattern rides different if it's tied on the hook. Second of all, the first option we discussed is that you can tie your dropper to the eye of the hook. That's something that I prefer to do. I then therefore can connect it to a non-slip loop knot, which you can check out here, and tie the non-slip loop knot. I find what that does here is it gives this a little more play, therefore not quite changing the way that the hopper sits in the water. But having said that, the pros and cons, perhaps maybe tied off the eye of the hook, it causes your dropper, or your hopper, sorry, to ride a little nose down. Again, that's something that you have to play with, especially with those patterns, and decide what you want to do. Do you want to tie off the eye of the hook, or do you want to tie off the bend of the hook? Both of them have pros and cons. Both of them are preference, I think, for the most part. Again, going back to this non-slip loop knot, I think tying that knot we have more of a line strength, so maybe that's why I go with it. I also teach you how to tie a a clinch knot with your tools, and how to do it super quick if you're tying off the bend of the hook. If you do that way, you cannot go back onto the eye of the hook here. Having said that, hopper dropper, you can tie from the hook down, or you can tie from the eye down. And then whatever knot you decide to tie here on your dropper, your nymph, whatever's under the water, that again is preference, and that is up to you. So thanks for tuning in. This was the hopper dropper setup and how we like to tie it here at Fly Fishing Bow River Outfitters.